Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to What I Review. Been about 2 months, 3 months since I last did one. Fucking hell. Slow fucking releases, I tell you that much. If you're not, let's get straight to the point. If you're not familiar with What I Review series is, if you're not familiar with what I Review series is, fuck, that's a tongue twister. If you're not familiar with What I Review, it's where I find either games that I personally find interesting and want to cover, or just general games I just feel like covering. Really, that's all that comes down to it. And do I have a fucking treat? Because if any of you have followed me on Twitter, heard anything I've said both in my videos and on Twitter, you would know that I am kind of, and when I say kind of, that's kind of a bit of an understatement, but I'm kind of a big fan of this franchise. And this is where I want to give a bit of, I want to disclose some things first before we get started in this review. That is, number one, to the people who may think I might be biased towards this, I will not. Every review I do is completely unbiased. I always do it from a professional standpoint. In other words, no game gets a free pass from me, regardless of what it is. It does not get a free ride, does not get a free pass. And this is no exception. Welcome to What I Review, Tales of Zestiria. I've been fucking excited for this, but it isn't going to change my opinion whatsoever. It is published and developed by Bandai Namco, so self-published, could say. Yeah, what is it? It's a JRPG, of course. Fucking else would it be, mate? Now, I'm gonna, like I said, full disclosure, I'm gonna be completely unbiased during this. No game gets a free pass on my book, no matter what it is. And this franchise gets no exception, no matter what. Anyway, it's kind of a surprise because this is the first one in the franchise to come to PC. And Bandai Namco have been going on and on and on about the PC port, then putting effort into the PC port. Have they done that? I shall show you if you didn't see my fucking tweet yesterday. Sorry, language, cursing, keep it to a minimum. This, excuse me, is the options menu. Now, does it look good? Does it look bad? Is this average? Is this decent? Well, I can honestly tell you, this is actually pretty good of an options menu. I mean, you got your shadow quality, you got FXAA, you got your draw distance, you got your anisotropic filtering, and you got your level of detail, which I have everything turned up all the way, have VSync turned off, because I never have VSync turned off. Now, is this a decent options menu? Yes, it is. I mean, you have to think, this ain't no GTA 5 or Crisis 3. The particular style, the art style and the way they've done everything is like, you can only go take it so far. Otherwise, it just will look completely wrong. So as far as I can say, this is a really good options menu, particularly, as I said, coming from a Japanese developer, and the fact that you usually don't expect this level of options menu in these types of games. I mean, the last fucking, like, these types of games I played, these anime types of games that I played, have had absolutely no fucking options menu whatsoever. They've had options menu, but absolutely nothing like this whatsoever. Absolutely none. So it's good to see Bandai Namco actually put at least some effort into... That was my Xbox controller dying. Sorry. Ignore that, please. Hopefully, please ignore that. Get back in. I might edit this out. But it's good to see Bandai Namco actually put the effort into the PC port for once. And yes, I am playing it with a controller because my mouse and keyboard clicky keys. I don't want that picking up on the recording. No amount of editing can get rid of that shit. Getting a new keyboard soon, hopefully. Noise dampening keys and shit. But yeah, really good options menu. Turn that off. The resolution goes all the way up to 1920 by 1080. Does this game run in 1080p? Yes, it does. As far as I've been told, and as far as I can see, yes, it does. It runs in 1080p. Now, if you're curious about the frame rate and all that shit, we're going to get into that because I hope you have some free time to spare, because this is going to be a long fucking video. Probably longer than the Agorist review I did. And I want to give some fair warning before we jump in. I may tread on some spoilers. Completely by accident. I always try to keep my reviews as spoiler-free as possible. But this is made by Hideo Baba. There is spoilers in every bit of dialogue. So if I will put this on the screen right now for you to see, this spoiler warning here will appear in the top left corner of the screen when we are in spoiler territory. I will put up this spoiler warning icon, which you can see on the screen now. I will put that up before the spoiler to give you all, you know, time to mute the video. And when you see it disappear, you're good. So just fair warning, there may be spoilers to the story. And I try to keep this as spoiler free as possible, but we'll jump in and let's get some fucking criticizing going on. Okay, here we go. We're in. I'm not going to say that just yet, because we're not up to that yet. Welcome to the world, whatever it's called. Knowing Hideo Baba is going to be so fucking much, but I played up to this point as I previously stated, to avoid spoilers. I played the shit out of this yesterday because, and I would also like to point this out briefly. Let me get away from alt noise just quickly. Forgot to mention this. Good thing I just reminded myself right now. I have this I did not get a hold of a review copy for this. I bought this myself. Just thought I'd throw that out there right now. I did not get a review copy. Bought this myself. So, just thought I'd state that because I always state that and I just forgot. My bad. I'll remember next time. But definitely looks pretty decent, doesn't it? I mean, it is on PS3 and it is on PS4 also, which will bring me to the performance aspects. Now, you're probably thinking, what frame rate does this game run at? Because that's something I obviously alluded to at the beginning, but since we're in the game now, I'll tell you. Unfortunately, if you can clearly see, if you are obviously not yet, we'll get to voice acting later on. If you are a common PC gamer, Jesus Christ, stop. Yes, unfortunately, Bandai Namco have confirmed that yes, this runs at 30 frames per second on all platforms. Bandai Namco have announced that messing with the PC settings and trying to attempt to raise it to 60, as you can see, will fuck up the game's settings. It will severely fuck up the game. Now, I took that as a challenge, personally. The moment... We'll get to that in a minute. The moment I bought this, I immediately downloaded it and delved into the game's system files. Could not find anything related to the frame rate, so I took it one step further and started delving into the game's code. Could not find anything related to the frame rate or anything to change the frame rate. So as far as my knowledge goes, the game is unfortunately locked at 30. And I don't know any way of raising it. There's probably somebody out there who will figure it out, but as of right now, to my knowledge, there's no way of raising the frame rate, because it's just nothing there. And Bandai Namco have announced that raising it to 60 will severely fuck up the game in so many ways, which, again, I've not seen this run at 60, and I'm not sure whether to take their word on it or not, because a lot of developers have said that the game can't run at 60 when it fucking can, because it's been proven time and time again that 60, for starters, runs better, makes the game look better, and is much better to fucking play. So unfortunately, It does run at 30, but it is running at 1080p, which is decent.
What do you mean they're selling elixir?
I shall skip this because...
The church is selling elixir now?
Yes.
Something sounds off about that.
I don't want to get to voice acting just yet, thank you very much, because I've got this laid out. I always lay out my reviews in a specific order. But yeah, the performance, it's running at 30, but it is running at 1080p. As of right now, I don't know any way of raising it to 60. I will likely, if I find a way that works, and if it doesn't fuck up the game, firstly, Bandai Namco are going to have to answer for that. And secondly, I will let you all know. But unfortunately, that's the performance. But other than that, the game never drops frames. It never drops frames. It stays at a consistent 30. There is, though, however, occasional screen tearing. Now, I don't know if you're noticing it. I've certainly noticed it over the past 24 hours. There is occasional screen tearing. Which is, again, probably VSync could sort that. But the performance-wise, it's not bad. Performance-wise, I mean, as I said, I would much prefer it to run at 60. Especially with these types of games. Yes, players. I'd much prefer these games.
I'll do you a favor.
Don't get me started. I'd prefer these types of games to be running at 60. It's just, it's proven to run better, and plus I know these types of games too well. But, what can I say, that's just the performance. I mean, it runs fine. The game hasn't crashed for me, even though there have been people reporting on crashing issues in game not working. Couldn't tell you. Couldn't fucking tell you, mate. Now, but that's the performance out of the way. Next, graphics and textures. Now, let's see if I can do something here, if the game will allow me. Yes, I can. Thank Christ. Hey, away from bloody talking. Now, you're probably thinking, how's the textures, how's the graphics, how's all that malarkey? Well, again, for these types of games, for these, obviously, anime-style games, usually the texture quality on character models are usually much better than the environment itself. And can I get up close to anything, please? I think you can see, yeah, texture quality right there, and I have level of detail turned all the way up. Yeah, texture quality, again, it's one of those things where, similar to GTA 5, it's like, it's a big world, there's a lot of texturing to do, and performance and all that shit. And it's really not that, there are some textures which are not that noticeable from a distance. Like, from a distance, some textures are just barely noticeable to be low res, whereas some of them are very clearly low res. I mean, again, from the distance, that boulder, for instance, I was just there, from up close, you could see how low res it was. From here, yeah, but like I said, in these types of games, I kind of would expect the occasional low res textures. It's just what we've all come to expect with these types of games. But texture-wise, they're not bad. Like I said, character models, they always focus all their attention on character models. The environment, however, there are occasional low-res textures, but some of them you really have to get up close to notice. And I did notice a bit of screen tearing there, you motherfucker. There is screen tearing. Let me try... Can I do that here? No, I can't fucking do that here, my bad. Yeah, you can't change the graphics options in-game. You actually have to go back to the main menu to do that. Anyway, so texture quality, it does its job. Let me just put it that way. It does its job. Graphically, there have been times, because I've played this both on PC, which is the PC version which I'm seeing right now, and I've also played the PS4 version. I've been playing the PS4 version since Thursday. And we'll go back to performance in a minute, because this also comes into it. The graphics do look, in some places, really fucking good. I mean, it's just, the one thing I like with these art style is I like bright, vivid colours that blend together really well. When you start putting, you know, fucking gunmetal grey and brown and shit. It just doesn't look good. And this probably isn't the best place to show it off. I might find a better place, maybe, during this. We'll have to see, but graphically, I mean, the game looks pretty good graphically. I mean, the particle effects look really fucking good as well, which I will show you in the battle system afterwards. Now, going back to the performance, there is one thing I have noticed. Now, as you're watching this, you may notice that the video seems to be skipping a little bit. And it's this thing where it's like, I've noticed as I've played the PS4 version for almost a week now, and I've played this for 24 hours on PC, I've noticed that, and I don't know if this is just me, but I swear the PS4 version of this runs a lot smoother. I mean, immediately when I booted this up yesterday night, when it came out, I immediately noticed that it doesn't seem to be running as smooth as the PS4 version does, which, I don't know if that's just me, or if that's, you know, if that's actually true, or if it's just me being stupid again, and that's just my eyes playing tricks on me. Look at that animation quality over there. Let's see how far we can get. Look at that fucking animation quality right there. I think the Harpy's missing a couple of frames there on the animation. Come on, we'd expect that from years ago, but not 2015, mates. Just saying. But yeah, it's weird because it seems like it's not running as smooth as PS4 version, but I don't know. But it definitely looks good. I mean, I've already heard people saying that it looks outdated. Fucking what are you on about, mate? Like, seriously, what are you on about, mate? Like, I've played, like, most of them up to this point. I mean, if we go back to the previous one, which I'm probably going to butcher the fucking name here, because Hideo Baba picks these names, I'm guessing out of a hat, unless it, I don't know.
I guess something like this is right.
I'm pretty sure. But I played the previous one, and the previous one, which was, and again, I'm probably going to butcher the name, because pronunciation is not my best suit, but I played Exilia 2 when that came out on release day, and that was a fucking PS3 game. That came out last year for Europe, and I think it came out in Japan in like 2012, I think. And even that still looked really good. If I were to compare this to its previous installment, I would say that this looks slightly better. I would say that the character models look better, but the environment doesn't look as good. That's what I would say. I would say the environments don't look as good, but the character models certainly do. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like its predecessor is slightly better in one aspect than this is. But I digress. Now, we're going to get to a really fucking confusing part here, because we're going to be talking about the battle system, and because it gets really fucking confusing, and even I got really confused by this. We're not going to go into battle just yet, we're going to battle afterwards. I just want to point these out, and I think I might need the bloody tooltips here to help me, because well, no, this isn't what I was on about, this was something else, but we'll talk about this, because as somebody like me who has played every single one dating back all the way to Symphonia, the way they've laid out the controls this time confuses the fuck out of me. Now, excuse me again. Now, the way it works is you have two different types of attacks. You have basic attack and you have your quote-unquote arts. Now, in previous games, it would always be basic attacks, and then everything would be basically all the special moves would be linked to arts, which you would gradually unlock by leveling up, or specific skits, or doing certain things. They've thrown that out the fucking window this time, and you get them by leveling up. But what they've done is they've kind of done the thing what they did with Grace's F, which was, this is your basic attack, this tab here. Yes, this is your basic attack. Now, usually your basic attack contains no arts whatsoever, it's just a basic attack. But they've decided to link all of these together and you gradually unlock them as you go. The downside to the basic attacks, as you see here, these here, the B button, cannot change them. You cannot change them. These are locked in place. I mean, if I get my mouse, like, look, mouse click, nope, can't change them. So they are permanently there, which, yeah, sure, mate. And all of your arts are now macroed to hither, and you can only equip 4 at a time. This is going to piss a lot of people off. Because again, going back to the previous installment, you could have like so many arts equipped at once and pull off some ridiculous fucking combos that it was just an impressive spectacle to behold. Whereas this time, it's been cut down quite heavily, and I'm rather disappointed by that because, again, I played the previous one, and that, like the previous one, I fucking loved the combat in that. The way it implemented 3 weapons to 1 character with different arts, different movesets. You could say basically for each weapon had about 16 slots for the arts, so that was about 48 arts you could equip at once on the main character, on the main protagonist. It's gone straight back down to 4. And you're probably thinking, oh, but maybe I can use the right stick as a shortcut. You know, again, like in previous Tales of games. Nope, because that is now issued 2 commands. We'll get into a battle. When we get into a battle system, I'll show you exactly what I mean, because again, they've completely moved around the fucking controls. So I'm kind of disappointed to see the cut down on the arts, the limitation of arts. You still unlock these as you go along, but there's not as many, and the basic attacks, you can't change these. Once you get them by leveling up, they are permanently here, shall we say. Which is a disappointing aspect. Now, equipment. This is the confusing shit. Now, obviously, if you've played any fucking RPG in your entire life, this menu would seem very, very familiar to all of you. But there is a level of difference to it. If I press right thumbstick, you get this. What the fuck is that, do you think? Honestly, that is the most bizarre thing in the fucking world. It's something to do with equipping specific type of weapons. If you see... where's my mouse? If you see right here, if I hover over sword, for instance, if you see right here, you see an icon. Right there, okay? Now that icon represents one of the rows. And each row has an element. That being, the top one being non-elemental, fire, earth, water, and wind. Are you still following me here? Because this is where it's going to get complicated. Every weapon, as you can see, every weapon, every equipment has their own specific... Excuse me. They has their own specific icons that fit into different categories. And as you see, as you go along, the icons gradually change. And this buckles the hell out of me because it kind of confuses me, this does, because there's a level of there's much more level of complexity to it than there was in previous games. In previous installments, you would just unlock shit as you go along. This time, however, you kind of want to pick and choose, which I'm not a pick and choosy kind of person. Everything I've learned from Symphonia is you get to a new town in a story. During the story, you get to a new town, you go straight to the fucking weapons and armor shop immediately. This time, however, they've put a lot of emphasis on, I think this was in Grace's F, where it's all about fusing equipment together to get stronger equipment. So that's much more of a prime focus now. Don't know what I think of that. I think of that as... I don't mind that, but it's like... I wish this would have a better explanation of what this is. I know there are skits that explain this. For the life of me, I found it quite difficult to actually comprehend what this was. But regardless, it can be a bit daunting. Switch back to from controller. And as you can see also down here as well, every piece of weapon, every piece of equipment also has specific stats that come with them as well. So even if you get a brand new weapon or a brand new piece of armor that has better defense, you may find out that the one that you already have has a lot more stats here that provide much better benefits. So it's kind of a pick and choosy kind of thing. Which I don't know what to say about that. I kind of find that a bit picky, but it's put a lot of focus on fusing everything together to be able to create better stuff. But bollocks to that, to be honest. New systems. Support talents for every single character. I'm pretty sure you get a lot more, and these practically kind of specific to every one, that depending on which one you pick will grant a specific benefit after a certain period of time. Like point of interest, if I get close to a again something that's of interest, it will get highlighted on the map. Stuff like wind stepping, which you can see there, winning battle, eavesdropping on townsfolk, movement speed is boosted by 30 seconds, and that stacks. So you get these kind of benefits as you go along. And that goes for practically everything. Battle actions. Now these are sort of, you could say, buffs, shall we say. And they are kind of, how can I say, basically as you equip each one, your current AP up there says how many you can equip. And you can equip as many as you want, just as long as you don't go over your maximum number. And you gain AP by just leveling up, by discovering points of interest, so on and so forth. And you can practically equip any one of them. And they all give their own benefits, like Auto Divinity. When the controlled character takes damage and loses health, the character will automatically armortize if at least one BG is available. Stuff like that. And free and free, which allows free movement around the battlefield without having to hold a freaking button down. Hideo Baba, we do not want to hold one button down to walk freely. Just make it... See, that's kind of been my bit of a nitpicky with these games, is that I don't want to run in a straight line. I want to have complete free movement around the battlefield. Not walking in a straight fucking line. Just saying. And they all grant their own little benefits and buffs. And the way you unlock a lot of them is basically, as you see down here, it's just a matter of doing all these. Like, you get these and they gradually unlock. And they all grant their own benefits and buffs as you go along. Which are pretty decent, pretty not bad. I don't mind some of them. Some of them are practically fucking useless, to be honest. But what can you do? And of course, in every JRPG you have the fashion section. Which, of course you would, because every Japanese game must have this sort of fashion. Dress up your characters, motherfucker. Don't know why that is. And yeah, that's there if you want to dress the characters up, but again, that's up to you. We've all done it, mate. It's not a thing. It's not a fucking shocker, but yeah, it's options, and again, like to point out, all completely mouse driven. Like, all the menus in the game are completely mouse driven. But there is one problem, Bandai, that you must fix. Sometimes the keys that you press on the keyboard don't fucking register correctly. I mean, sometimes when I'm in the menu, I'm pressing E. Motherfucker, I'm pressing E. Won't bring up the menu. Other times, when I come to the menu and I press escape to go back, and I'll press escape again to go back, the game gets confused and thinks I'm pressing another key. So there were times when I was pressing escape to leave the menu, and it thought I was pressing, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, it thought I was pressing spacebar. Which, I think Bandai, you need to sort that shit out. And I also like to point out there is a bug at the moment that is fucking up the key bindings. Just want to remind people of that. There is a bug that is fucking up the key bindings. Unfortunately, how the fuck does that happen? I don't really know, but menu, mouse driven and keyboard driven. just perfectly fine, works perfectly fine and smooth. Is a little bit irritating though, but what can you do? Now, I will show some voice acting here, but these ones will not be spoiler territory, because they're just random skits I got from purchasing the game. So I will actually show you the voice acting in both English and Japanese, so it's going to require me to have to probably quit the game. So I will show you a skit in English, and then I will swap over and show you it in Japanese. But first, allow me to save beforehand, because I don't want this to be fucked up.
That was lovely. You all just look so charming in your Idolmaster outfits.
Charming, sure. But if Alicia won't stop cringing, it ruins the effect.
But those skirts, they're so short. People might even see your undergarments if you're not careful.
Well, yeah, that's the point. They're show-off undies that go with the skirt, not real underwear.
The skirts may be a bit short, but market studies show that this is currently the most popular length, held by the citizenry to be super cute.
Yes, science has repeatedly shown that skirt length to provide optimal cuteness. Cease your resistance.
What even is an idol anyway? I'm not familiar with this use of the word.
Well, it's something admired and venerated, right? Those clothes are supposed to inspire that. Just like how you're the idol of all the citizens of Highland.
Me? Idol to the kingdom? Well, the public adores and respects you. You're a symbol of hope to them. It's quite fair to call you their idol.
See? You have a sacred duty, a birthright to that outfit.
Are you quite certain that is what will bring hope to the people?
Damn right it will! The sight of an even sweeter than normal Alicia will tug their spirits right out of the doldrums. And if we're wearing it together, you're not alone, right?
Absolutely. With all four of us wearing it at once, we'll activate a cute union bonus for extra cuteness.
Yes, complete the effect with everyone's attached stuffed toy, and we will achieve maximum cute. Epic cute.
Thank you, everyone.
Don't sweat it. Still, kinda sucks that the people of Highland won't actually be able to see Lila or Edna.
Oh.
Edna, watch where you swing that thing!
This is why I despise humans.
Now, Edna, you know it's not her fault.
皆さんお似合いでしたわね。アイドルマスターの衣装。似合っていたけどダメよ。アリーシャが恥ずかしがりすぎてて。
だってあんな短い丈のスカートですよ。気を抜いたら下着が見えてしまうではないですか。
あれは店パンだよ。スコートであってパンツじゃないの。確かに短いかもしれませんが、今の流行りではあの丈が可愛らしいと評判だそうですよ。そう。あれがアイドルが可愛く見えるベストオブスカート丈なのよ。我慢なさい。
そもそもアイドルとは何なのですか？
異国の言葉で憧れの的みたいな意味だっけ？そういうことならアリーシャはハイランド国民のアイドルなんじゃないの？
私がハイランド国民のアイドル？
皆さんから慕われ期待を受ける姿はそう言えるかもしれませんわね。だったらなおさらあなたには堂々と着こなす義務があるわ。
それを国民は望んでくれるのでしょうか？
もちろんだよ。いつもより可愛いアリーシャが見られて嬉しいんじゃないかな。それにほら、みんなで着れば怖くない。ええ、4人お揃いで着れば可愛さも増しますし。そうよ。付属の人形もお揃いでつければ超絶可愛くなるわ。
皆さん。
ハイランドのみんなにはライラとエドナは見えないだろうけどね。エドナ危ないって。だから人間は嫌いなのよ。エドナさん、それはさすがに八つ当たりですわ。
And there you have it. Both voice acting, in my opinion, honestly, I like both. Like, honestly, the voice acting is pretty good. Like, for both English and the Japanese voice actors, I actually do quite like that a lot. And I like the fact that they've thrown both the languages in the game. Good, give people options, you know. But yeah, the voice acting, in my opinion, is actually really good. And honestly, like the overall sound design is really good as well. Like, the whole sounds of everything, like the whole ambient sounds and shit, sounds really good. So on top of that, like the overall audio quality, like for like almost a lot of aspects of the game, I would say really good. Now, I know you've been waiting for this, but we're gonna jump into a fucking battle system. Because of course we are. Now, one thing you can do in a battle before you actually start a battle, you designated a key or a button to do that. What purpose does that have? I honestly don't know. Come on, I think it just paralyzes the fuckers. Now, I'll briefly pause it here. Well, basically hold the fucking RB button. As always, 4 characters in battle at once. It's always been 4 characters. Now, what it is the battle system is completely free moving. It's not turn-based combat. So everything is going on at that very moment. Now, if you remember what I showed you in the menu about the art screen, all those abilities you can use in battle. Okay? So I'm holding it here because I need to point out a couple of things. Now, in previous games, Hideo has constantly kept on changing the battle system up every single time, and Bandai have such a convoluted fucking name for it. But this time around, they've done something which I'm not particularly a fan of, because I prefer the previous game's way of doing it. There's no mana bar, and there's no action bar. What you now have, if you look underneath the character's health, underneath the red bar, there's a blue bar. I like to designate this as the stamina bar. It's known as the SC gauge, or I like to call it stamina. The higher that bar is, the more moves you can do. Unfortunately, you can only do a 4-hit combo, which I will briefly show you if I remember the fucking controls. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 hits. You are only allowed to do 4-hit combo at once. It doesn't matter if you combine basic attacks with arts, you can only do a 4-hit combo. You can acquire a skill called Exceed, which I'm familiar with. I'm pretty sure that has been in every game, which does raise your combos, how many combos you can do. But I don't really like the fact that it's gone back to the basic 4 combos. I mean, that's kind of the one thing that I wish we had more depth to it in, like, Symphonious Combat, for instance, because at least that had challenge to it, in the aspect of you had to figure out the combos for yourself. And then with the previous game with Zestiria 2, you could just fucking mash. You could fucking button mash your way through every fucking battle. But I kind of like that because you could pull off some really ridiculous shit. So, I mean, again, if you look at the blue bar down there, after doing a 4-hit combo, that blue bar's gone down. It recharges if you do not move. If it gets too low, you cannot do any more attacks. You have to wait for it to charge up. Don't like that. I prefer the previous system of having both mana and an action bar. The action bar designated how many attacks you could do in a single combo, and the mana was, you know, it's fucking mana. If you've played any fucking fantasy-based game, you know what fucking mana is. I preferred that sort of system, so that's kind of a disappointment on that aspect. Now, one other thing, I know I'm pausing a lot, but like I said, there's a lot to fucking talk about here. And it's very difficult to talk while I'm trying to concentrate on the battles. So I'll keep this brief. You may have noticed there was no transition to a battle arena, because if you're very familiar with game development, particularly these sort of RPGs, JRPGs, when you enter battle, you get teleported to a battle arena. That's not the case in this game. That doesn't exist. Basically what they did was they tried to make it more immersive by allowing you to seamlessly transition into battle where you stand. So where you start the battle is going to be your battle arena. No transition to an actual battle arena. You start the battle where you started the fucking battle, and that becomes your battle arena. If you can probably see, in a massive fucking area like this, it's fucking perfect. Because I can pull off shit like this. Because I can pull off some ridiculous shit. Now the thing is, I've praised previous games for being very fast-paced and incredibly enjoyable, because as you know, if you remember back from my Agaris 2 review, I love fast-paced combat.
The ruins are coming.
Yeah, great. I love fast-paced combat. If you don't know that by now, I love fast-paced combat. This does not feel as fast-paced. Being restricted to doing 4 combos and then having to wait for that bar to refill really kind of irks me and kind of... it's not immersion breaking, it's more or less like it makes me lose my momentum, shall we say. So that is kind of a downside about the combat because it's not as fast-paced. But they did transfer something over from Zestiria 2, and that is a fucking transformations, which I will show you. Where's an enemy? There you are, fucking hiding a little bitch. Now, there's another bar. You see the yellow bar? On each character's portrait has a number. You fill up that by taking damage, dealing damage, defending, or dodging, right? When you fill up one of them, if you press left shift or LB, it activates something called Armatize, which basically, if you again see down there, which I will, in the editing, I will point it out, the 4 elemental icons. You can switch between characters on the fly now, which is brilliant, because I've always been wanting that. And it's best to do it against specific enemies that have specific weaknesses, shall we say. If I look at weaknesses, weakness to earth but resistant to physical. So if I press D-pad down and switch to earth,
Sure are a lot of plant
boom,
aliens around
earth.
here.
Right? So you can practically swap characters on the fly. And even if they lose all their health, you can swap them out for another character and their health will gradually come back over time during the battle. Good system, I like that. I really do like that. The ability to swap characters on the fly is really good. Now, back to that bar. What does that bar do? Simple. If you press left shift or if you press LB on a controller, you basically do a fucking transformation. Love transformations so much because you can pull off shit like this. Which, unlike Zestiria 2's, which had a time limit, this does not. And I love it for that. Oh god, this is awesome. Now,
Want to become stronger as
skits. What is that? That's part of the story, which I will explain after this. Because again, spoiler warnings and shit. But the fact that you can do that is fucking awesome because that can turn the tide of any battle. And you can practically do that for all 4 of the elements. And they all provide their own attacks and their own different arts. Including, as some of you may know, mystic arts. Which are obviously fucking awesome to do. Unfortunately, I can show you the mystic arts normally. I cannot show you when in the transformation because that requires me to play further into the game and I ran out of fucking time. And plus, again, fucking spoilers. So, with the Mystic Art, what you do is, as you pull off a combo, you hold right trigger and B. Don't remember what it is on a keyboard, honestly, I don't remember. But see if I can build it up and we'll pull one off. Hopefully. Head down here, fucker. No, can't pull it off yet. I think I need about 3 bars, but every... excuse me, God, my throat's getting sore. But every single character has their own unique mystic art that's tied to them and them alone. I think it requires about 3 to use one. So, hopefully, come on, give me one, give me the fucking button. I'm about 3/4 of the way there. But every single character has their own. That's enough. There we go. There you go. Awesome. Every single fucking game. Every single game. They make it look more and more fucking badass. And what that is incredibly high damage, basically. Again, it's one of those things that allows you to turn the tide of battle. But again, you don't unlock that in the transformation form till I think a little bit into the game. I think I'm close to unlocking it, but again, if I go through it now, it's just going to be spoiler territory, and I don't really want to do that. So the combat is, in my, if I were to say it, it seems like it's a bit more of a step back. It feels a bit slower. than previous installments. But it definitely feels nicer with the whole transformation thing. I'm gonna call it transformation, just fuck off. And it just feels a lot nicer. But it does not feel as fast-paced as previous installments did, and not as smooth really, which brings me on to the next topic of animations. Again, one thing I've complimented the guys at Bandai Namco when it comes to this franchise in particular is the animation quality is fantastic. You may have seen at the beginning of the video that opening. That is made by an animation studio over there, and it's amazing. The animation quality in this game is pretty awesome, honestly. And that's something I've always complimented this franchise for, is having surprisingly, like, really good animations, which you really don't want to skip out on that stuff, really. And as you can see, there's a lot of shit going on the screen, which is... And yes, to people who may think the AI might be a little bit derpy, no, the AI is actually quite intelligent, sometimes. Not all of the time, but sometimes. But yes, the AI can trigger things on their own, they can trigger their own transformations, they can trigger their own mystic arts as much as they want. But yeah, the animation quality is something I've always adored about these games because it's top notch. I don't know who does the animations over there, but they do a fantastic job because they feel really smooth. And the funny thing is, you saw how hectic that battle gets. With these games, it gets worse. It gets even more hectic, and the frame rate never goes down. The frame rate never dips, which is something I can honestly say is, even though it's running at 30, I can appreciate that the frame rate doesn't die down as much. So I can appreciate that, but it's kind of difficult really to kind of... Because it's... I'm trying to think, because it's like... I'm trying to think of a conclusion to this myself, because I've seen many people over the past 24 hours, or shall I say, since it came out Friday, or shall I say since I got it Thursday, haha. Many people have spoken out saying that it feels kind of dated compared to the previous titles, which honestly, I'll have to admit, yeah, it does feel dated. I mean, the previous game went for a more futuristic setting, a more modern setting, which really appealed to me, because I've never seen this franchise go in that direction. But with this in particular, it's gone back to its roots, its medieval style. Like, it's gone for that medieval tone. Kind of King Arthur-y, shall we say. That's what I'm getting from it. But it's gone back to its prime roots of where the franchise originally started, which I can appreciate that. And have they done a good job with it? I mean, they've done a decent job with it. I mean, that's the good thing about it. But does it feel dated? Graphically, it does not. I mean, it looks slightly better than the previous version on the PS3, which isn't really saying much, really. The sound quality and voice acting, top notch. The battle system, even though it feels, again, as I mentioned, a couple of steps backwards, it still feels enjoyable, regardless of how many steps they've taken backwards. But there's one thing about the battle system that really, really annoys me, and I think Bandai should have worked on this a little bit more, is the fucking camera. I'll see if I can get into a dungeon, and I'll show you what the fuck I mean, because it gets fucking ridiculous. Now, throughout the game, you will guarantee to come across a lot of dungeons, which is a surprise, because usually Tales of games don't have a lot of dungeons, which is certainly a surprise. Oh yeah, another thing I forgot to mention, what also you get, if you look over there underneath the minimap, is you got certain abilities. D-pad up allows you to get rid of bullshit in the way. D-pad right allows you to traverse gaps. D-pad left, I already know this, will allow you to become invisible, and D-pad down will allow you to punch boulders. So basically, D-pad down will allow you to go Chris Redfield on these motherfuckers. But the one problem I have with this new battle system The previous games went, and a lot of JRPGs tend to teleport you to a battle arena for a very specific reason. The reason why a lot of them don't go for the whole integrated into the area which you are in is because you may run into dungeons like these, which, and believe me, there are dungeons even that have got tighter corridors than this. And you may end up with problems with the camera. Because you cannot control the camera. When you see what I mean? You get problems like this. You cannot control the camera in battle. The right analog stick, which I mentioned earlier on, doesn't do anything for the camera. It's actually, that is what issues commands. Originally that was on the D-pad, but the D-pad has now been macroed to switching characters. So the camera, you get problems like this, where the camera gets stuck against the wall and zooms in. And it causes, it causes issues. Big fucking issues. I mean, I know you're probably thinking, it doesn't look as bad, like, you know, that's tolerable.
Looks like we win.
It's not fucking tolerable when you have no control over the camera. And it just goes fucking nuts on its own. I mean, look at this. Look at this. I mean, you saw that then for a brief second, but it does get a lot worse than that. Oh, you fucking camera. You see what I mean? It's just the camera just moves around like a... It can't sit still for 2 seconds, and it ends up just going all over the place. Come on, press it, press it, press it. And that's the main problem with the combat system with what they've done. I mean, I appreciate it because it definitely feels a lot more immersive, but it certainly does feel a lot more immersive, but it fucks up with the battles because you can't fucking see what's going on. There are some dungeons where it gets even fucking worse. Even fucking worse than that. You can't even see a bloody thing. So I think Bandai, work on that shit. I think you should probably playtested that a little bit more beforehand. Now, good thing about the game is there is fast traveling, which I fucking appreciate. Unfortunate part is, you actually have to pay gold for it, which pisses me off. Now, I do have another problem with this game. But it's not the game itself. It's what Bandai Namco have been doing. And that is the DLC. Shall we discuss the fucking DLC? I'm putting my controller down because I'm going to discuss this. Along with the release of the game, there were 2 DLCs released. A costume pack. I'm perfectly fine with that. That's fine. That I don't have a problem with. But this other DLC is £15 or whatever that is, $20. What is it? It's called the Adventurous Pack. I'll probably put a screenshot up of it on the screen right now. And it's basically... It's basically pay to win. You get double experience, double gal, double grade, and so much other benefits for £15. That pisses me off to no end. Because that sort of stuff, double XP, double gal, double grade, you got that shit at the end of the game. You get grade at the end of every battle. Right? And that amounts up to the end of the game. And once you beat the game, you can spend that grade on bonuses for your next playthrough. Because I guarantee you, you will not just play, like, have one playthrough of these games. Because these games are have got so much hidden stuff within them that you'll probably want to keep coming back for more. So you can spend that grade at the end of the game on bonuses and buffs. But the fact that Bandai Namco have decided, fuck it, let's make people spend £15 on that, pisses me off to no end. Because in a previous one, in a previous Tales of game, Tales of Hearts R, they had fucking microtransactions. I checked the PlayStation Store and the Vita, has fucking microtransactions. And I give Bandai Namco this warning right now. Do not pull that AAA bullshit on this franchise. That is a warning. Do not pull that bullshit on this franchise. We get enough of that from many other games. But don't want that to be pulled on this. So I just want to clarify that, okay? I'm not trying to be nasty. I'm just telling you, because every person I've seen so far has not been happy about it. And I certainly am not, because I don't want to see this franchise ruined with that stuff. Okay? Just want to clarify that. But I do not agree to that in the absolute slightest. Not at all. But, I mean, I'm kind of struggling at the moment. I mean, is there anything else left? I mean, what else is there for me to discuss, really? I mean, I don't really know. I mean, the story itself, I mean, I think that's kind of where it comes down to a bit of its downside. It's kind of generic. If you played a JRPG, yeah, this story is something you've probably already played before. I mean, it's this whole thing. Unknown evil appears. People have to go and deal with it. That's it. That's it. That is the most basic fucking summary I have given for a story ever. But that is generally what you'd expect. Now, that is just the story. It's as generic as you want it. But what I did realize playing through is there is an alternative, not an alternative, but a kind of a hidden message within the game. That hidden message being that the whole game is centered around passion. If you're thinking I'm talking bullshit, I'm actually not talking bullshit. The game is centered around passion. So, honestly, I even though the whole story in on itself is rather generic, I can understand the meaning behind it of what Hideo Baba was trying to do. Definitely can. And yes, of course, there are many towns. Fuck me. Fuck, that got loud. There are many towns dotted around the whole area, which you can get side quests from. And usually they always have an inn, they always have an armor vendor. Your typical RPG stuff, really. I mean, I don't really need to explain that to you. I will briefly show off the armor fusion, though, and all that shit. Because you need to see that. Now, you may end up with a lot of different weapons, and a lot of those weapons end up with the same shit, as you can see. If I want to get a better weapon, or upgrade this weapon, I have to fuse it with another weapon. Now, what happens is, and I know this looks a little bit confusing, but I'll bear with me here. What happens is when you upgrade it, those will level the attack and the defense will go up as you fuse the weapons or the armor together. Now, your stats will remain, but the ones that are labeled in blue will replace a stat. So if I click that one, for instance, those two stats there will replace those two. And if I go for that one will just replace that one, but it will add a third stat to it. So if I click OK with that, and fuse that together, there we go. And I can do it again. And I think I can do it about 10 times, you know, and do the whole Dark Souls thing, is level it up 10 times. And I can actually do that with every weapon and every armor, but it has to be the same weapon. You can't just fuse together two completely different weapons. The weapons have to be the same weapon, as you can very clearly see. And the same with the weapons, same with the armor, same with all of that. So, yeah. I don't mind that system, but it's alright, I guess. But, I prefer the whole going to town and buying it firsthand. But, I think I'm about ready to conclude this, but if I were to say my fuck me and my fucking speech. If I were to give my final impressions on this, let me bring up the fucking map. What's the map button? Fuck, I forgot the map button! There it is. Sorry. Actually, no, that's kind of distracting. That's better. If I were to bring up my final conclusions on this, what can I say? The PC version, it does feel smooth at times, but it definitely, at other times, it doesn't feel as smooth. I mean, it seems like there's screen tearing. It feels like the game is kind of stuttering a little bit. There is occasional texture pop in and model pop in. The camera can go absolutely fucking crazy during battles, which can really fuck everything up. But on the positives, the battle system is still as enjoyable as it was, even though it's not as fast-paced and as complex as it used to be. The voice acting and the sound quality and the sound design is really good, and personally, in my opinion, as you know, I always leave my opinions to the very end. I do think that the game does look good, but in some aspects. But I do think the previous installment actually looks slightly better. But the whole notion of it being outdated is complete bullshit. But honestly, if I can say it, I would consider this to be not one of the best. It's up there, but I would say that it'd be about higher than average. So I definitely have been enjoying my time with it, every fucking moment of it, because the one thing I appreciate about excuse me, the one thing I do appreciate about Hideo Baba's writing and the way he does the storytelling, the way he designs the characters, he doesn't pander, he doesn't do stupid tropes, he doesn't do stupid cliches. He focuses on the story and he focuses on the characters. These games have always been a character-centric game. This whole franchise has always been character-centric. And that's the one thing I always appreciate about him. I mean, many people can look at these sort of games, well, this franchise in particular, and just think it follow tropes and cliches and silly bullshit. Actually, no, it does not. I mean, Hideo Baba, he doesn't do any of that. He does exactly what it needs to be done. He focuses purely on the story. He focuses purely on the characters and adding proper character development, proper characterization and personalities. And he does a very good job with it. But honestly, if I can say, in my honest opinion, I can recommend this, but if you do own previous consoles, if you do own a PS3 still, I would just say I would recommend to go back to previous ones. But obviously, if you don't, I can still recommend this. I mean, they plan to bring fucking Symphonia to PC soon, probably next year. I'm gonna be reviewing that shit. That shit was my childhood. Again, unbiased, but honestly, it's just it's above average. It's kind of up there as being not one of the best, but it's kind of up there. I don't feel it is as outdated as people say it is. And I definitely can say there is replay value, because I guarantee you, your single playthrough, you will always miss a lot of stuff. You will miss hidden skits, you will miss hidden weapons, hidden armor, and so much more stuff. So the game does obviously want you to play it more and more and more, so there is definitely more replay value within the game, because there's more stuff to be discovered within the game. In every single one of the games in the franchise, there's always more and more content within the game. You just have to figure out how to get to it. So I definitely say there is some level of replay value, and they're not short games either. I mean, I put about 30 hours into it so far, and I'm nowhere near finishing it. But yeah, I can definitely recommend this, but again, as I said, if you can get a hold of previous games, then get a hold of previous ones, but if you can't, then I sure can recommend this. I mean, its MSRP is £40, or your regional equivalent, I'm guessing $50. I know it's about £40, about 45, maybe 45 euros, and I think maybe about $50, I don't know. But yeah, I can definitely recommend it. Not one of the best, but it is above average. But that's all I can say on the matter. But yeah, above average. But regardless, that has been my What I review. I'm not going to give any sort of score because fuck you. But I can recommend this. I can definitely recommend it. It's on Steam right now. It's also on PS4 and PS3. If you want performance, you can go for the PC, but the PS4, in my opinion, runs a lot smoother. And it practically feels the same. Like, the PC version doesn't really feel as better as the PS4 version. They feel just the same. I do appreciate the effort that Bandai Namco have put into it, but I would have appreciated a little bit more. Just a little bit more, maybe on the textures, and particularly, Bandai, the frame rate. Please raise that frame rate to 60. It will make this so much better. Trust me. But yeah, that's been my What I review. Thank you very much for watching. And I've got a busy fucking night to Reddit all this, but fuck it. Thank you very much for watching. I've been who I have. This has been technically one of my favourite franchises, but I have remained completely unbiased throughout all of this. If you do not believe that I have been unbiased, then I do apologise if I've come across as sounding biased. But I remained completely unbiased. I gave you my honest opinion on what I thought of the game. But yeah, that's been that. I've been me. Thank you very much for watching, and ta-ra.